agenda, it says this afternoon, it's not my slides, just want to make that caveat. What you need to do, how to apply for pupillage, and basically tips on your CV and what you need to do. Essentially this, be yourself. If you listen to the previous talk, I'm sure that would be a similar message. Be yourself, build your CV, and join an in. If you haven't joined an in, make sure you do that as soon as you can. There are many reasons for the in. Why you need to stand out. There's a health warning. I'm sure you've already worked out. It is highly competitive. The figures there speak for themselves. Competition is intense. There's about 1,600 students that take the bar course every year. Some of them intend to practice overseas, but even so, some chambers have over 100 applicants for the place. So it's really important that you remember there's only about 400 odd pupillages each year. The numbers speak for themselves. So you've got to make sure that you are the best version of yourself. You need to stand out. One of the positives, you've got 5 years to do that, to do your pupillage applications. But rejection is par for the course. At BPP, we do have a careers department that will help support you through the process. They will help write CVs. They will help you with your applications. I'll talk a bit more about that. But in terms of building your CV, that should say 10. Again, apologies for that. That should say 10. 10 qualifying sessions. Make use of those. Go to the advocacy weekend. Build your skill sets. These are all things how you can build your CV. Your in will provide further knowledge-based practical skills that are really going to be useful in life as well as in your pupillage applications. They will help you find a mentor or a sponsor, a qualified barrister that's willing to take you under their wing, to go out for a coffee with you, talk to you, help you through the process. Mini pupillages. Try to get a mini pupillage, try to do some marshalling. But frankly, if I'm honest, everyone's done that. So you've got to make yourself stand out, do something on top of that. At BPP, who I represent, we do have fabulous opportunities for pro bono work. We call it social impact team. So there's an opportunity for you to meet members of the public and help them through their cases. Really useful experience. You've got something practical to talk about when you go for your interviews. How have you put this into practice? If you're at university right now, get involved with the pro bono unit there. The advice for free or any other prisoner assistance schemes or any other schemes that have got running. Really, really important. Early undertaking of those things shows your commitment to the bar. They provide you with the skill sets that you're going to learn on the bar training course. So conference skills, public speaking, they're going to be essential skills. Lots of opportunities outside as well, the free representation unit, lots of opportunities to practice in lower level tribunals or assist on cases, citizens advice bureaus that you could go along and volunteer at, perhaps in your town or near your region. When you're building your CV, remember that you need to tailor your CV to the specific chambers that you are applying to. You can't send out a blanket CV to everyone. It doesn't work like that. All of these opportunities as well will help you to work out, if you don't know already, and there's no reason why you should, whether you want to be in civil, criminal, commercial. Go and find out. Go and see what it's actually like. Any of these events, attend. So attend the pupillage fairs. You'll get lots of information here. Meeting, sign up early. Go to court, free theatre, but also helps immerse you in the courtroom so that you're going to feel confident going into the courtroom, see other people, absorb what's going on around you. And as I said, careers assistants at BPP, there are a dedicated team that will walk you through the process. Applying for pupillage. Now, finding pupillage, I'm sure you'll be familiar with the Pupillage Gateway. If you're not, the link is on the board there. Look on Chambers websites and look for pupillage in various law job advertising boards. They're advertised throughout the year, but most people tend to go through the Pupillage Gateway. Now that opens, I think around about September, you can put your application in or build your account. The actual applications for pupillage open about the 3rd of January, I think it is, 2024, and run through till it closes on the 7th of February. You're allowed to put in about 20 applications. Up to 20 applications. Again, start early. You need to think Chambers are recruiting up to 18 months in advance. So wherever you are at your stage, think 18 months back. You need to be doing it before then, really. Certainly getting to grips with it. Keep track of deadlines. If you are not applying through the Pupillage Gateway, and you can apply direct to some chambers, keep track of where you are, have a spreadsheet of what's happened when, because it's not just send in the form, get a letter back. There's a whole process. You'll have 2 rounds generally of interviewing post that application, but it's really important that you get that documentation right at the start. By that, what I actually mean is spell check and review your work. Maybe get someone else to read over it, or if you're lucky enough to have a department that can help you through it, use them. Use those people, use the team to help you write your cover letter or write your CV. You may think that you've got a great CV and you've put it together in the best way that you know. This doesn't necessarily mean it's what's going to be needed. Speak to people that know. Align yourself with what chambers want. I'm not going to go through each of these individually. I'll leave them on the board for you to have a look at. Just to pick out a couple of those, organisational skills, time management. They're all things that you may or may not have achieved in the legal sphere. But if you haven't had those opportunities to put those in a legal context, remember all the other work that you've done, whether it's voluntary work or non-legal work. You will have used these skills at some point. If you helped out at, I don't know, Cubs or Scouts or something, you've probably used all of these skills. So when you're building your CV, think broadly. And in doing that, maybe you've worked as a receptionist in a hotel, or As a cleaner in a hotel, you will have used some of these skills. So think broadly. That makes your CV look a little bit different. Don't denigrate those things. Oh, they're not law, they won't be interested. They will. Make yours sing out. It doesn't mean you have to do climb, Mount Everest. It means think carefully about the skill sets that you currently have and how you can adapt those to your application. Anything sort of innocuous hobbies, I don't know. It might be the thing in an interview that connects you with that person. I don't know, you might have a love of guinea pigs with someone else in Chambers, or, a love of sailing or something. You might just say something and it sparks that link. That's what you're looking to do. I don't know, you might be part of a choir and you're being interviewed by someone who sings with Middle Temple or some other event. Think broadly about what you do. The more things you have, the greater the likelihood is you can connect with those people. So, in your CV, differentiate between your legal experience and your non-legal experience, but don't dismiss the non-legal experience. Fundamentally, they're looking for a dedication to the bar, a genuine commitment. You can show that with your mini pupilages, mooting, and the things that we had on the previous slide, but think more broadly. So as I said, you will generally face 2 rounds of interviews. The first one, firstly, how to prepare. Prepare. Make sure you know what the Chamber's specialism is. It's no good if you want to specialise in aviation law if you're in a non-specialist set. So do your background work. Find out about each Chambers. Coming along to a fair like this today, really good opportunity to ask questions about what their specialisms are. What cases have they been doing lately? Find out about your Chambers as much as you can. Go online, look up the tenants, look up the different members of Chambers, see what cases they're involved in, see what their specialisms are. That's the level of preparation you need to do, and beyond. At BPP, we do mock interviews, and as I said, the benefit of a big organisation is that there are those specialist skill set teams. So the people that write the questions in their life, for example, in the city, when they're working in the city, were actually writing the questions for interviews, or barristers that were part of pupillage teams that were writing or providing the problems. Those people with the specialist knowledge are in the team and are able to direct you to these are the sorts of questions you might face. Let's have a practice. Let's go through this. As soon as you get an interview for a Chambers, you're entitled to have those mock interviews where someone at BPP, for example, will go through with you. Right, let's look at your CV. Let's look at your interests. How can we build this into your interview? You will face a range of questions. I'll come on to those range of questions in a second. But do your background work. Research the set of Chambers, look at the profiles of the tenants, look at the work carried out by the members of the team. So these are some of the types of questions, and this we've drawn from experience of our students coming back, and we say, okay, what did they ask you at your interview? Let's have a look. And they fall into these broad categories. Motivational questions. You're going to expect that one. What do you want to do at the bar? Why are you at the bar? Why you? Why this Chambers? What motivates you to apply to this particular Chambers? What attracts you to the bar? Have a think about these sort of things before you go along. Practice with someone. Speak to people that have gone through the process. Students in the years above that you might know. Ask them, what did you say? How successful were you? Competency-based questions, usually some examples of when you have persuaded someone to do something, or where you've deployed the skill sets that they're looking for, the skill sets from the previous board. Debate or topical questions. Should pupillage become compulsory in order to become a barrister? So think more current. So things like, should there be a monarchy? Think whatever's it going on at the time. The war in the Middle East. Think about where you are. It might not just be legal problems. It could be broader than that. But of course you are going to expect legal problems. And then curveball questions. So these are designed to help to make you think on your feet and be your authentic self. So an example of a curveball question that I know has happened in the last round was, I said to the student, okay, what did they ask you? And they came back, what did they ask? And they asked, if you were an emoji, what emoji would you be? So there's kind of well off you could not have prepared for that. There will be that curveball question. Having spoken to students, it seems that they're not asked every single one of these, but across their range of interviews, they've been asked 2 or 3 from each of these different categories, but that's the kind of list that you're looking at. You might not encounter all of them in one interview, but you might across a number of interviews. Then, if you get past the first round, those sort of types of questions, you're looking at a sort of looking at your skill set. Type problem questions. 2 different types there. You'll kind of know what it is because you'll be told to turn up an hour beforehand. So you know there's going to be some reading or possibly a written exercise beforehand, before your actual interview time. So plan ahead. If you are given information ahead of the interview, plan. Drop everything else, do that. You can catch up with your studies later. Focus where it needs to be. Absolutely devote all your time to that. I'm sure you're going to hear this repeatedly this morning and this afternoon. If you are in the interview, be succinct and helpful. If they ask you a really complex question, and by a complex question I mean they put 3 questions in one. How did you do that? What did you do? And why? Make sure you answer the how, what, and the why. If you want to take a note paper in with you, take notes with you. When they're talking, write down how, what, why. I need to and tick them off as you answer them. Be methodical about it. At this stage, the interviewer may well be playing a role. So it might be that they take the position of the client or the judge or another solicitor or your instructing solicitor or a negotiation. It can be all different types of problem style questions. It could be, how did you handle this sort of client? Someone who is angry or someone who's telling you the law. I've read this on Google. How would you handle that? Or someone who's really tearful. So as well as the problem questions, think more broadly about the interactions you have with people, as well as ethical questions. Think about, is there a conflict here? Because although more commonly in family or criminal matters that you might come across ethical points, they do come up in other areas too. So try to spot those because they're quite often dropped in. Picking those up can be quite important, which is probably the next slide. Efforts. Try to spot those. How can you prepare for that? Well, there's a great guy in the other room directly opposite who's from the Bar Council. The Bar Council, he'll be able to help you with different types of guidance. Got the Bar Standards Board, Code of Conduct, and Handbook is essential reading. Don't need to read all of it. The first page with the most principles set, read those first, the most important. But yeah, have a look, read through it, look at what could come up. Any conflicts of interest. I'm not going to dwell too much on that, but it's a factor that the size of the team behind the course at BPP. Of course, at BPP, we teach you how to become a barrister. We teach you the bits that you need to know to pass the course. But behind that, more than that, is, as I say, a really big careers team and futures team. If you decide pupillage isn't for you, there are alternatives that you can use your law training in. They have those available as well. So do look carefully at further down the line where you want to be and what sort of support you might need. I should say that there is a whole series of talks, and if you attend, I think 3, you get a certificate. Great for your CV to show that you have been serious about joining the bar and looking at all your options and how to do it. I'm aware there should be a Q&A session. So if anyone does have any questions, do feel free. And if you don't want to talk in this forum, then we have a stand in the other room just across the hall where some of my colleagues will be able to answer any questions that you might have. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Yeah, could I ask, you mentioned about tailoring the CV to each and changes. Can we get some more part of kind of to do that? They took about taking stuff out with CV or we're just inside?
Readjust for every single chambers. It's a unique application. If you're doing the direct applications, you need to think very clearly about that. I don't actually do the readjusting of CVs, but there is someone at BPP who would be able to assist you. And when you sign up for a course, from day one, you're entitled to that service. So definitely make use of it. I'm thinking of someone that I spoke to the other day who is an international student, did not do her degree here, but engaged with the process. And she said she badgered the person in the careers department, and he was also present. And he said, no, she didn't. I was just doing my job. But literally, she would speak to him at regular intervals saying, help me do this. She will readily admit that failure was high. She'd come back from her think, no, I didn't get it. And he would say, okay, let's look at what you've done. How can we reshape this? What questions there's? Okay, let's look at the questions. This is how you need to come across. The reasons that people don't get pupillage, inadequate CV, or they just didn't present well on the day, happens to us all. But yeah, there are specialist people that can deal with that, but that's the benefit of having different teams specialising in different things. If I would sort of summarise, join an in, make use of those skill sets in your 10 qualifying sessions. It's a great place to network. Spelling and proofreading, really, really important. Keep track of your deadlines. Demonstrate a real commitment to the bar. Differentiate between your legal and your non-legal experience. Tailor your CV, but you can get help to do that. Rejection is par for the course. I should say that student has got an excellent position in Chambers and is looking to go off to join them shortly. So rejection, just keep going. You've got 5 years. Hopefully it won't take you that long, but be determined. The more you practice, the better you will get at the interview process. Maybe do it. Some people do it 2 or 3 years. Think carefully. 18 months in advance, you need to be thinking about these things. Be ready when you do get the opportunity. Why have you chosen that set? Do your background reading. Look them up in Chambers. Look them up across the internet. Look what they're up to. If in an interview you're asked a threefold question, a complex question, make sure you answer each individual part. If you're answering questions, really good idea, instead of just kind of throwing out there what you're thinking, think of 3 things you can say. Firstly this, secondly that, thirdly that. Job done. So that you've really processed what you're thinking about. And as I said, the reasons for failure tend to be inadequate CVs or just not performing on the day. Yes?
What do you want?
So,
What do you need?
you can, at BPP, I think I'm right in saying this, but again, I'm not part of that team, but I think if you decide that you don't want to do pupillage or you can't get pupillage, I think that you can do the SQE program. I think that's paid for, but I'm not sure. I would need to check that. But yeah, so you could transfer to be a solicitor, or you could go and do other roles where you are maybe in an advocacy capacity. I know that there are some firms, don't think they're here today, but some firms where you can do, under the supervision of a solicitor, you can do some work before you're qualified as a barrister. So I guess you could continue with doing those. But there are options. But the careers team would be able to assist you with that.
And here's something that she was saying in school, abandoned seats.
Most
Yeah, I mean,
you can say why I was speaking so, and they can say them you saying this video they're happy to it might teach 8 times and they got to debate in. Let's say I would speak to some of the materials for their in some place.
no, absolutely. Just keep going and make use of the services around you. And that's the success story of the student that I was talking about, was basically she just took advantage of what was on offer. And there's a lot of help out there. Your inns provide huge amounts of money in scholarships. So definitely apply to your inn for those scholarships. BPP have a range of scholarships. Apply for them all and see what comes back. So funding, I know, is an issue for some people. It's out there, it's available. It's about finding those things and seeking it out. Yeah.
The alumni, and you still access everything.
I would imagine so. I can't see why not, but I don't know the answer to that, is my honest answer. But I know that from the moment you apply for a course, you get access to the careers team. Yeah.
I have a fever.
So for the Pupillage Gateway, again, I'm not an expert on the Pupillage Gateway, but I think there's a maximum of 20 you can apply to. Aside from that, you can apply directly to chambers. Some chambers accept direct applications, but 20, you're limited to 20 under the Pupillage Gateway.
Just to follow up on that, the Norse people say that what she was that she's saying that was in Gleisok 20, she, as always, but you find the number of changes we do to research. So, and then in that, it's just like eight. Should have responsibility researching thoroughly featuring with racial and the identification work part.
It is about tailoring your CV, tailoring your application, and targeting. Looking for those connections that you can make, whatever those might be. And those, yeah, the in, yeah.
Thanks very much indeed.
Dear.